Welcome to the Digital 3.0 podcast, where we simplify the complex technologies that are changing our lives. Our goal here is to empower you by breaking down tech buzzwords like blockchain, Bitcoin, and tokenization into concepts that you can understand and use. I'm your host, Austin Richard, and today we're diving into a topic that's making waves in the financial world, and that's tokenization. Now, you might want to bear with me because I will deliberately be a little bit redundant, but I think it's pretty important to understand these new investment terms, and it's really essential for navigating the future of our digital world. So if you still have questions after the episode, feel free to leave a comment and I'll respond as soon as possible, or you can reach out to me through LinkedIn and I will leave a link in the description. So if you've heard of the term tokenization, but you can't quite wrap your head around it, you're really in the right place, because today I'm going to explain what it is, show you its vast potential, and discuss how it's revolutionizing industries from traditional finance to real estate and beyond. Now, we're not going to get into complicated finances, which I'll mention that again. But so what we're going to do here is we're going to break down tokenization into the simple, digestible pieces, not complicated, but we're not going to go too far into the weeds, okay? By the end of this episode, I want you to understand what tokenization is, but you'll see why it's a game changer. Whether you're new to the concept or you're just curious to learn more, I want you to walk away with more knowledge than 99% of the population has. And trust me, in today's digital age, that knowledge is powerful. So let's go ahead and start with the basics of tokenization. Imagine you're looking to invest in a valuable piece of rare art. Normally, to own that piece of art, you'd have to buy the entire piece, right? Of course, if you bought, let's say, the Mona Lisa, for example, sure, you'd have the option to hang it wherever you want. But in our example, let's just assume that it's purely for an investment purpose and you store it in a vault or it's hung in a museum. Now, if you wanted to own the Mona Lisa, you'd need an enormous amount of capital. You have to be a high net worth individual. But let's say you could split that artwork's ownership into smaller, more affordable pieces. That would allow multiple people to own shares of it. Each person could buy it, their share, hold it, or sell their share on a digital market that's accessible around the globe. That's essentially what tokenization does. And it's not limited to art. It can apply to other assets like real estate, stocks, companies, and even blockchain technology itself. At its core, tokenization converts ownership of an asset into a digital token. And each one of those tokens represents a fraction of ownership. These tokens are secured using decentralized blockchain technology, which is like a digital ledger that's nearly impossible to tamper with. These tokens can be bought, held, sold, or traded just like for traditional financial instruments. Remember back when you would buy a share of a stock, you'd actually receive a stock certificate. Well, that's a representation of your ownership. This is the same idea, but it's a digital version. What blockchain does is it adds transparency, security, and efficiency to the whole process. And if you're unfamiliar with blockchains, I really suggest checking out our previous episode, What the Heck are Blockchains? And I will put a link in the description for you. Now you might be wondering, why would you use a blockchain for this? What's so special about it? Well, blockchains are particularly powerful tools, especially when you're talking about a decentralized blockchain. It's incredibly secure and it records every transaction. It cannot be changed unless you have let's just say it can't be changed. And this gives investors peace of mind knowing that their assets are safe. So we're going to pivot, though, to tokenized real estate, because that's pretty interesting. So traditionally, investing in real estate as an investment requires significant capital. You need hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to buy property, which is an illiquid asset. But with tokenization, things change. Imagine you want to invest in a $3 million beachfront investment property, but you don't want to take on that debt or that risk. With fractional ownership, you could invest in a smaller portion or portions of that property and still benefit from its revenue and its appreciation. this approach is really doing something that's really hasn't been done. It's democratizing investment opportunities. So instead of being limited to high net worth individuals, tokenization is opening the doors for everyday investors to own a piece of the valuable asset like investment real estate. It's a game changer for those who've been sidelined from these high value markets, forever, basically. So back to the beachfront property example. So instead of buying the entire $3 million property, you could tokenize it into 1,000 pieces, and each one would cost $3,000. Now, essentially 1,000 people could own a fraction of that property, each holding a token that represents their share. And remember, these tokens, they can be bought, they can be held, they can be sold on a digital marketplace 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is unlike traditional real estate, which is illiquid, and it's unlike traditional investments, which require, they're not open 24 hours a day. And a lot of those transactions require brokers or lengthy processes, okay? To be clear here, I'm not talking about institutional investors who are sophisticated financial instruments like securitized debt or something like that. I'm referring to personal investment tools available to everyday people. So if you want to learn more about digital exchanges, I suggest you check out our episode all about digital exchanges, and I break down how they work and how you access them, how you have access to them. So tokens, they can be stored on digital wallets, or they can be held on the exchanges, which I do not advise doing that, about keeping them on exchanges. If you're not familiar with digital wallets, which again, that's my preference, but you really need to learn about those. There are different kinds. There are cold wallets, hot wallets, and even what are called paper wallets. And if you want to learn more about that, I have an episode coming out. I don't think it'll be out, maybe shortly after this one. It's called "What Are Digital Wallets?" It will definitely be worth a listen if you want to learn how to securely store your tokenized digital assets. So to recap, tokenization offers more than just democratization of investment. It provides liquidity to typically illiquid asset classes like real estate. With tokenization, property owners can raise capital without selling or mortgaging their entire asset or parts of their asset. This flexibility really changes things, offering more dynamic options to investors. This is already happening. Let's take the St. Regis Aspen Resort, for example. It's a 5-star luxury hotel that tokenized ownership back in 2018. And since then, it's been very successful. Those tokens have been traded globally on digital exchanges, and they've gained quite a bit of value. Their value is not only because of the novelty of them, it's linked to the profits and the losses of the hotel's performance. So this tokenization isn't just a theory, it's actual real thing, and it's growing. To sum it up, tokenization is revolutionizing how we think about ownership and investments. It's created a new asset class, making high-value investments accessible to more people, while also improving transparency, liquidity, and security, democratizing investment opportunities. If you've been curious about digital investments, tokenization is something to really watch closely, because again, this is not just a buzzword. It is a powerful tool that is basically giving access to new wealth, new forms of investing that people haven't been able to get into in some cases. So I know I kind of went quick and I didn't go too long here, but it's not overly complicated. There's a lot more to tokenization, but we'll stop for there. And thank you for joining me on your tech journey. This has been Austin Richard on the Digital 3.0 podcast. It was my pleasure to host you today. I hope you found this explanation on tokenization helpful, easy to understand. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, maybe leave me a review or a comment, and share it with someone who might enjoy learning or understanding about these technologies. our goal is really to empower through understanding and knowledge. And I always say it's way better to be too early to the game than late. So we'll see you next time on the Digital 3.0 podcast. Thank you, and it's my pleasure.